Well, hello, my lovelies, and it is nothing less than a sheer orgasmic joy to be here with you again tonight, live from Windy Bottom, from where I will be coming in your eyes and ears. And I don't mind telling you, I've been looking forward to this all day because you're such a top of the range bunch of people, and I can't get enough of you. Now then, how are we all? Good evening to you. Happy Thursday. And right, let's run through how tonight is going to go. There's going to be wine, of course. You would expect nothing less. Excuse me. Now then, features for tonight. Apart from the usual rubbish, I thought we could turn this into another little live Q&A. So if you've got any questions for me whatsoever, pop them down there in the comments and I will work through them. And I will give you honest, open and frank answers. Oh, hello. Oh, bugger. Hold on 1 second. I have to, oh gosh. We might be being joined. I've got to resend the link. Hang on. Oh dear. Well, this is good live broadcasting, isn't it? Paste. There we go. That's gone. Now then, where was I? So, yeah, I will... Oh, don't do that. Oops. Oh, well, this is going bloody well, isn't it? Yeah, so pop your questions down there in the comments, and in a moment, I'm going to work through the existing comments, see who we've got here with us, and then I will answer your questions. But also, there is something else for you to do, because tonight we are going to have a game of Cruise, Marry, Podger. And the way that works is you have to pick 3 people to whom you are subscribed on YouTube, or who are subscribed to you if you have a channel, or a mix of the two. And you have to pick one of them that you're going to go on a round the world cruise with. So 3 months. Oh, that came early. It's normally a bit later. So you're going to pick one that you're going to go on a 3 months round the world cruise with. You'll see them day in, day out, every day, every morning, every evening. But it's strictly a friends thing. It's separate cabins and there's no funny business. Then you're going to pick a second that you're going to marry and spend the rest of your life with. And then you're going to pick a third with whom you are going to have a dirty, filthy, disgraceful one-night stand involving frenzied pottering and gnashing of teeth. So, excuse me, still got this lurgy and I've got dreadful toothache. God, it's been beating me up something awful today. I'm old, I'm falling apart. It's a terrible thing getting old, it really is. Anyway, so those are your 2 jobs. Questions for the live Q&A and your answers, your 3 answers for Cruise, Marry, Podge. Now then, I'm going to whiz through these comments. I'm going to see who we've got. And, oh God, don't look ahead. Right, okay. Jimmy Quinn is with us. Good evening to you. Oh God, help us. What? Oh dear. Rose, oh God, something traces afterburn, tripemonger, bloody hellfire. That's hard work, that name. Let's hope Cece and Tom are having a quieter evening. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to come up Tuesday night, and my idea for a little bit of a different live stream and an unusual form of bedtime story. I'm happy to talk about that. I have no shame. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I really enjoyed it. And whether you like it or not, I plan to do more. even though it cost me a few subs and kind of slaughtered my like-dislike ratio for the channel. But sometimes you just have to say sod it and have a bit of fun. Simone of Hooked on Classics is with us, and let me remind you that Hooked on Classics is one of our community channels, which I would ask you all to support. So if you haven't already subscribed, do head along to Hooked on Classics right here on the YouTube and hit subscribe. There are other community channels, of course, and we'll come to those in due course. Underscore is with us, and a very good evening to you, Matt. George Roger Botty is in the house, and he sent out for a cheeky bottle of bubbly, as he thinks that he may need a drink if there's going to be more storytelling tonight. No, there's not going to be that sort of storytelling. That's going to be a completely different thing. And we'll go out under a completely different badge. Those are going to be Mr. Boaty's bedtime stories. So if you hated it and thought it was very, very silly indeed, keep an eye out for those and don't click on that link. Those of you who enjoyed it, strap in, there's going to be more. Bad Books is with us, and a very good evening to you. And Simon of Project MGTF, another community channel. Check it out, like, subscribe. And quite rightly, after I impersonated him in the video that went out earlier this evening, he opens up with, "Hey up, people of interwebs." Dear. Now then, GPS OMG is with us. Splendid, good evening to you. The lovely Trace is with us, and that's the Greenwood, a community channel. Check it out, do subscribe. Yeah, okay. No, don't worry, you don't need earplugs and you don't need anything to dull the pain. Well, not the specific pain that you all endured on Tuesday night. Tonight is going to be a more normal live stream. It's not going to involve the reading out of any atrocious pornography. Captain Mustard is with us. Project Nigel, another community channel. You're all subscribed to it anyway, but on the amazing off chance that you're not, check it out, hit that subscribe button. Somebody mentioning my abortion of an impression of Simon. I mean, it was a bit of what's the word, begins with C, caricature. That's it. It was a bit of a caricature, but it worked. He got it. Oh my God! Please, no stories. Yeah, don't worry. Here, KKC is here. Oh, Gopi. The lovely Gopi is with us. Kathmandu Kitchen. Hey, Gopi. Namaskar. You home already? Blimey, that was quick. Cheers, Gopi. You're very good health. Hope you've got a glass of wine there. Don't forget to freeze your cubes, says Simon. I've got the whole bottle in there. Remind me before it freezes. I've got some cubes in this one and the bottle's in the curry freezer. TP is here and is glad it's nearly the weekend. Oh, right. We've got some questions coming in. Jolly good. Right. Okay. GPS OMG says, have you dated Mr. Roger Bottom? That would be a no. I have definitely not dated Mr. George Roger Bottom. Ours is a purely professional relationship. Simon says, I have a question. Who do you think you are? Oh, I've done that one. Yeah, you have, mate, and I didn't get it then. It's a reference to some televisual program. And a reminder for you and for the TV licensing people, I don't have a television. I don't have a television license, and that is because I don't have a television. So stop sending me letters. I don't care if you're investigating me. You can shove your investigation up Mr. George Rogerbotty. Right, and he follows that up with, what gives you the right? Oh, I've done that one too. You have, and I didn't get that one either. Simone of Hooked on Classics has a question and says, is yours floppy, Boaty? If you don't know what I mean, you haven't seen my video. Right, well, I must confess I haven't caught up with that particular video, although I'm decidedly intrigued, Simone, as to know what dwells therein. So perhaps I'd better hold off answering the question, is mine floppy, until I'm sure exactly what it is that you're referring to. All sorts of answers spring to mind, most of them probably too offensive to actually give voice to before midnight, if at all. Okay. The artist formerly, right, jolly good, okay. I wouldn't go on a cruise, so that's that one out of the question. Well, imagine that you had to. Imagine it was forced upon you. Simon has, hang on. Can we pick Facebook instead? I don't have many subscriptions. If you must, TP. Simon is going to weigh in with a cruise, marry, podge. I can't remember what mine were. Let me think. Cruise is Sarah Entuned. Marry is Mary Spender. And Podger would be Girl on a Motorbike. 3 splendid channels, I'm very sure, none of which I've ever seen or heard of. Simone is going to pass on Cruise, marry, podge. Rosina, yes, it is. Cruise, not my thing. Nobody's loving the cruising tonight, are they? Adam Flynn is with us and has a question. Have you ever had problems with the sills rusting on your 75s? I noticed mine started going on my ZT. Well, Adam, yes, I have. And for the last MOT, Sir Arnold, my CDTI saloon, he had 2 complete new sills fitted by the wonderful Wendy Craig of Rover Revival Restorations. And he did an absolutely splendid job, so they're going to be good as gold for a while. So yes, I have. Yes, I had to get them. Sorted out. Touch wood. The ZT is fine thus far, but it is a weak spot of them. So if yours haven't gone, they probably will. But you know, they can be done, as can the rear subframe, which is another Achilles heel. And you know, whilst it's not bargain basement cheap, it's not the end of the world either. It shouldn't be a cause for scrapation, which isn't a word, but I quite like it, so I'm going to make it one. Simone gets seasick. Captain Mustard says, it vote me a few subs too. He may have been going for cost there, but tricky chap's words, I'm sure we can all agree. The lovely Sarah Parsons, one of my singles crew, is with us, so that's lovely. Good evening to you, Sarah. And she loves cruises. Simon wonders what meals you can get on a cruise. I don't know why we're doing that. Chaz Brown is with us and says, good evening, Mr. Botanori, which is a reference to Tuesday night and that absolute disgrace of a bedtime story that I forced you to endure. And we have a message held review. It's going to be filth, and indeed it is. It's from _ who says, oh right, yes, well, I can see why that was hidden. Simon says, I'll avoid those bedtime stories if they're all porn. A wise choice, Simon. And I would advise everybody else to avoid them as well. I'm going to do them purely for my own amusement. They make me laugh. Oh, right, yeah, okay, well, everything's wrong about that. Um, Be warned, we'll initiate corpse swap if you start with the porn. Right, as you know, we have a long-running feature called OPWAP, which spawned a derivative called OPSWAP, and much to my horror, and I'm by no means understating the situation there, to my absolute horror, some of you who quite frankly ought to know better have initiated a new derivation called, well, I'm not even going to say what it's called, and I'm certainly not going to enumerate what's involved in it. It's a disgusting and disgraceful feature, and I refuse to have anything whatsoever to do with it. But Simons is warning me that he's going to initiate it again if I start with the porn. Look, at least I mitigated the porn. Be fair. Did you hear any overt filth? No, because I translated it into more community-friendly language at great effort. Right. I don't care if the licensed folk hear me. I haven't got a television. Investigate your asses off. I couldn't care less. Hang on, right. George Rogerbotty, Mr. George Rogerbotty says, right now, I'm not reading that out. Jimmy Quinn says, you can get 2 on your iPad. No idea what that means. I bet he had, right, no, I don't know what that means either. I need to watch Simone's, oh God, really? Oh, this is sounding a bit dodgy. Oh, it's sounding a bit dodgy now. Right. Jimmy Queen says, I've been with my wife for over 40 years. I would take her on the cruise. I don't need anyone else. Which is a really, really lovely sentiment, but is lousy content for the feature. Surely cruise, marry, pod, someone picks 3 for you and you choose which for each. Well, yeah, that is how it worked originally, but I don't know who you guys know, who you subscribe to, or who is subscribed to you. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of freedom of choice there. Beecham's saying you should try everything in life except incest and Morris dancing. Oh, it's a question for me. From Bad Books. Beecham saying you should try everything in life except incest and Morris dancing. Is there anything else you would avoid? Good question, Bad Books. Now let's think about that. Things that I would avoid at all cost. Definitely television. I think my views on television are fairly well known. Cheese. Cheese is the work of Satan and should absolutely be avoided. I imagine it's really quite addictive because you cheesers don't seem to be able to break the habit, so that's probably best avoided. What else? Oh gosh, let's think. Things that are up there with incest and Morris dancing. Do you know, I'm gonna kind of reverse that question, and I'm gonna say that I agree about avoiding incest, but I don't agree about avoiding Morris dancing because I've always had a strange and morbid fascination with Morris dancing, and I have always really quite fancied trying it. Number 2. In fact, here's a feature. Okay, here's a feature. Who is your favourite superhero? Now, you might not think that I was into superheroes because I don't do comic books and geekery or television or films or such like. But this may surprise you then. because I have got a favourite superhero, and it is, and let me know if you know who this is, if you've heard of this. My favourite superhero is Bangra Man, a superhero who fights the forces of evil using the powers of Bangra dancing. And in one of the best episodes of Bangra Man, he battled his nemesis, who were the Morris dancer Wallace. And there was an epic dance-off between Bangra Man and the Morris dancers, who'd taken some prisoners and were holding them hostage. And I really I quite fancy Morris dancing. You know, all that leaping about, I'm up for that, and a bit of knees up and slappy sticky and all of that sort of thing. I think it looks rather fun, and I would love to give it a go, dancing around the maypole. Why not? Why not? So, yeah, to answer your question, um, it's yeah. I don't believe in trying everything in life except incest and Morris dancing. I believe in trying everything in life just except incest. And I think that Morris dancing is something that everybody should try once. And in fact, this May Day, I think that we should all dress up, meet up at a maypole, and try some Morris dancing. I genuinely would be up for that. I genuinely would. I think it looks tremendous fun. I'd also like to have a go at that German dancing where you wear braces and those short leather shorts and twiddle people upside down and do all of the body slapping. I mean, that looks great. What's not to like? You know, leather, spanking. It's all good, and I would love to give that a go. I don't know what it's called. But yeah, it looks fabulous. So if any of you would be up for a session of Morris dancing or a session of turning upside downy, weary leather shorty, body slappy, do let me know and we will arrange something. Oh God, underscore, really? Underscore, go and sit on the stairs. Go and sit on the stairs and think about what you've just done. Oh God, I'm going to have to read this out. New name for corpse swap, Roger Body. Oh, outrageous. Disgusted at corpse swap, says he who narrated pure filth. Well, bad books, I'm going to take issue with you there. Now, corpse swap is disgraceful, debauched, and I should add, illegal filth. Now that is filth. Whereas what I narrated on Tuesday night's Mr. Boaty's bedroom story, is that filth? I ask you. I mean, it was all perfectly legal. It was all above board. I filtered out any bad language. It all took place between consenting adults, and I'm pretty sure it didn't feature anything that every single one of you have got up to. So is that filth? I would argue that it is not. We had to start corpse swap when we were bored with the bedtime story. No, you didn't, KKC. No, you didn't. You started corpse swap you started it before. You started it on Monday when there was absolutely no excuse or justification for it. So don't try and use me as an excuse for your outrageous behaviour. I won't stand for it. I prefer oh gosh, right, okay. I don't have a TV, needs to be on a t-shirt with a Boaty's face. Good shout, Simon, that's going to happen. You're supposed to pick awful celebrities. All right, okay, shall we, all right, let's have a rejig of Cruise, Marry, Podger then. So, I will give you 3 people and you have to pick one to have a round the world cruise with, but it's separate cabins and no funny business, but you're in their company day in, day out. You have to pick one to marry, and you have to pick one to have a frenzied one night pottering stand with. And you can't weasel out of it. You can't say, oh, I wouldn't because of this, that, or the other. You have to do it, and you have to give all three one of those roles. Now, the three people I will give you are, let's think about this long and hard. I'm going to give you two ladies and one gentleman. Now then, let's think. Hang on, I need to give this just a moment's thought. Right, I presume they've got to be alive, haven't they? Let's see. Now then. And it's got to be somebody that everybody is going to know. So, let's think. Okay. I'm going to give you Christopher Biggins, former Prime Minister Theresa May, and Posh Spice. There you go. You've got Posh Spice, Theresa May, and Christopher Biggins. Do your worst with that. Cheese is the giver of life and love. No, it isn't. The cheese brings the cream, which would also be banned, and the tang. All hail the cheeses. Well, no. But cheesy peas. Right. Peas are another thing that should be avoided at all cost. There is no justification for peas existing. They're nasty, hard, tasteless, green little buggers. And they've got no place on anybody's dish, plate, or in any food. And what's the worst pea in your opinion? In my opinion, the worst pea is the dehydrated pea in a pot noodle. I mean, that's taking something truly awful and making it 1,000 times worse. And another pea that I would thoroughly despise would be a pea that appears in something nice and ruins it. I don't know. Well, back in the day, Chinese chicken curry from a Chinese takeaway. I've been making my own for years and years and years now because, frankly, not only is it a lot cheaper, but it's a lot better. But I can just about vaguely remember when I used to order it from a Chinese and it came with peas. And that's something quite nice that's ruined by something that's perfectly bloody awful. So the idea of cheesy peas, well, anybody who thinks that that is a thing should quite honestly be locked up. No, I don't, Jimmy. Sarah Parsons says, how could you not like cheese? Well, it's perfectly simple. Now, imagine if you'd never tasted cheese or experienced it. And imagine if somebody came up to you and said, I'm going to squirt milk out of a boob. I'm going to leave it until it goes all hard and mouldy. Then I'm going to scrape the mould off. Would you like some on your dinner? And, you know, frankly, if you say yes, then you need therapy. Something wrong with you. Cheese on toast with brown sauce or black pepper is lovely. Well, no, it's not. And there's nothing wrong with me. I'm normal. You're all wrong. Cheese should not exist. It's gone off lady boob juice. That should not be a thing. Oh dear, don't get me started. Well, you have got me started. Morris dancing looks great, says Simon. I assumed everyone with a rover would like Morris dancing. Bangra Man sounds fun. Bangra Man is amazing. Check it out on YouTube. I tried Morris dancing, but I fell off the bonnet, says KKC, with quite a good joke there. The wassails are good fun, says TP, and I don't know what they are. Best superhero is the Tick. animated series was the best one. Spoons was his battle cry. What? What the bloody hell? I mean, the tick is a thing that you find on a hairy animal's back, isn't it? I don't begin to understand that. I wonder if the hairy Paddington has ticks. He might have if he hasn't combed his beard for a while. Now then, superhero Hong Kong Phooey. Hong Kong Phooey. Can't remember the rest of the words. There has to be some car shows with Morris dancing as well around the right time of year. What's the Hebden Bridge show like these days? At Project Nigel. Boaty and Mustard do Morris dancing on the caravan site? Yeah, I'm up for that. Another message held for review. Oh, and it is _ Oh. Who wants to join me on the naughty step? Well, me apparently. I should be on the naughty step for Tuesday night. I thought it was funny. Here we go again. The Kenjoji. I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce your name, so I'm just going with whatever fits at the moment. And if I got it wrong, I'm sorry. But he says, oh, here we go again. And yeah, right, so it's me waffling at you again. Oh, hello. Jabberwocky 220 GTI. The lovely Liz is here and says hello, everyone. And Liz is somebody I had the enormous pleasure of meeting on Monday, and we lunched together with 2 other splendid people, and there will be a video on exactly that coming out very soon. And the lovely Liz has the most amazing collection of cars, and I'm hoping to sweet talk her into letting me film a couple of them before too long. Probably when the weather gets a little better. They're not like mine. They're posh cars that are actually worth more than 2 and 6. So I imagine that most of them don't come out in inclement weather. Unlike mine, which lead a life which is almost entirely devoid of pampering. Right. Corpse. Look, I'm not giving any airtime to your corpse whapping activities. Look, if I read you a perfectly pleasant bedtime story, I take my time, I make the effort to pleasure you with a lovely bedtime story. That was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? A story of love and companionship and sharing and the joy of togetherness. And if you choose to ruin all of those beautiful things by talking amongst yourself about the thing that you were talking about that I'm not going to mention, well, that's entirely up to you. But all I can say is it's your loss. What have you all eaten today, by the way? Don't forget, I always want to hear about what dinners you've been having recently. Specifically today, I've done rather well for food this week. Now, on Monday, as I mentioned, I lunched with the lovely Liz and Wendy Craig and Captain Mustard. And I had something I've never had before on Mustard's advice. And it was a kebida. And it was jolly nice. And then on Monday night, I made a sort of beef stir fry with oyster sauce and ginger and onion and spring onion, and that was quite fabulous. And then on Tuesday, I had something else, and I can't remember what the bloody hell it was. What did I have on Tuesday? Oh, I had my leftover birthday drumsticks, didn't I? Did I? Or was that last week? God almighty, I'm losing the plot. No, I'm buggered if I can remember what I had on Tuesday. What day is it today? What's my name? Wednesday, I can tell you I had roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, and that was absolutely fabulous. And last night, oh, I did double beef yesterday. Is that wrong? Is that like double denim? I know you're not supposed to eat too much red meat, and I don't. I normally eat white meat. But yesterday I did double beef. Does that make me a bad man? I had roast beef with Yorkshire pudding for lunch, and then last night I had chili beef chow mein, which was absolutely bloody fabulous. And then lunch today was, oh, I had Chinese soup, Chinese hot and sour chicken soup, which didn't look amazing, but oh God, was it good? Was it good? And that's a rhetorical question. I don't need you to answer that. You wouldn't know. You didn't eat it or drink it. There's a question. When it comes to soup, do you eat or drink soup? And does that change depending on the viscosity of the soup? Do you drink soup if it's like a consomme? I do love a consomme. And do you eat it if it's all like got bits in it, like a lumpy soup? There's a question for you. And another question, do you observe proper soup etiquette? I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm actually going to go out on a limb and demonstrate this. Now then, this is going to, for those of you who already know how to consume soup in a socially acceptable fashion, I apologise because I'm teaching your grandmother to suck eggs. But for those who don't know, this is a soup spoon, okay? You can tell it's a soup spoon. It's got a full rounded bowl. It's not a dessert spoon. It's not a serving spoon. And if you are going to consume soup, you should have one of these. Unless, of course, it is an Asian soup. In which case, you should have an Asian soup spoon, like that chap there. And while I'm on that subject, Asian food, Chinese food in particular, right? I think that it should be illegal to eat Chinese food without using chopsticks. I think it should be illegal to eat Chinese food with your fingers or with a knife and fork. If you can't eat it properly with chopsticks, you shouldn't damn well be allowed to eat it at all. Controversial, but that's what I'm like. Anyway, back to the soup. So, I've demonstrated the soup spoon to you. We'll put that there. And let me introduce you to a soup bowl. And a proper soup bowl consists of 3 parts. You've got your, so you can't see it there, can you? You can't see it there, the candle's in the way, I'll put it there. You've got your saucer, you've got your soup bowl itself, which should have lugs either side, like so. And if you're interested, this is a 1970s Denby Homestead soup set. And of course, it should have a lid to keep the soup warm whilst it's being transported to you. So, now then, when you have your soup, naturally you remove the lid because you would struggle to consume the soup without removing the lid. Now, here are the soup rules, okay? Rule number 1, when you dive into the soup with your soup spoon, I'm going to have to lift this up to show you. You must never, ever, well, for a start, you must never wave your soup spoon about like this. But I'm doing a live stream. I'm not actually eating soup. We're just pretending. It's an empty bowl. Look, I can turn it upside down. I can put it on my head. Did you ever do that thing in Indian restaurants where your food is served in a cast iron karai? A karai is that little bowl with 2 handles made of iron or stainless steel possibly. And we used to do a thing when we were young lads and very stupid, that you ordered a really hot curry, and you had to try and eat it really quickly, and you had to eat every last little bit of the curry and wipe it round with the naan and everything. And when you'd finished, you had to put the curry on your head, and the last person to put the curry on their head had to pay for everybody. And there was one of the lads was a guy called Dave Whitty. I used to do this with the pool team that I used to play for. I used to play for a national pool team called the All Stars, and I also played for a snooker team. And we used to go out afterwards and go to the old Indian restaurant, do all of that sort of thing. And one of the guys, Dave Witt, he was always the slowest eater because he was the heaviest drinker. So by the time we got to the curry house, he was absolutely off his tits, completely out of it. And as a result, he always got stung with the bill. And he got fed up of this. And he never finished his curry, hence always getting stuck with the bill. And this one night, when he just got so fed up of it, he had his curry, he barely got into it. We'd all wolfed ours down in the normal, and as we were coming towards finishing, he kind of looked around and with panic and desperation in his eyes and his soul, he just said, "Oh, fuck it," picked up his full curry and went, absolutely, I fouled myself with laughing. I can't remember who picked up the bill for that one, but it was totally worth it. If memory serves, I think he had to walk home because we certainly wouldn't take him in any of our cars. He had curry all over him, and I don't think he was able to get a taxi either. Anyway, back to the soup. Okay, so I'm picking it up to show you. It's just pretend this isn't really happening, but you must never, ever, ever, ever do this. You must never go to the far side of the bowl and bring the spoon towards you. That is a massive social no-no. When taking soup, you must always spoon away from you. So the spoon begins near you, it does the journey of the bowl, and it ends up at the far side. And that is, the only thing that you can do worse than getting that wrong is by passing the port the wrong way after a dinner party. That is an absolute social no-no. In decent society, you would never be invited again if you transgressed that rule. And the other rule is, well, there are two other rules actually. When taking it, so you've spooned away from yourself, you have your soup in the bowl of your soup spoon. Next rule, your head must remain exactly where it is. You must not move your head towards the food. That is not acceptable. The head remains static, and God gave you, well, the FSM gave you the gift of arms, and this is one of the reasons that he did exactly that, and made them hinged in 1, 2, 3 places, plus more hinges here, so that your head can remain in one place, and spoon away, and you bring the spoon to your mouth. You don't do this. No. Absolutely not. And then the third and last rule is that you've spooned away, you've got your soup, your head has remained steady, you've brought the soup spoon to your mouth. You don't shove the spoon in your mouth and go, no. The spoon remains at the entrance to your mouth, and you, using your fingers, you tilt the bowl. Can you see? I'm showing you. You tilt the bowl like that, and you inhale like an angel. And that is the only way that you can responsibly and decently enjoy a bowl of soup. And I do hope you found that immensely useful. And if anybody has any questions about that, I will be more than happy to answer them. I will move this soup apparatus away from the main live streaming location. and we will very shortly move on to something else. I'm going to top my wine up. So yes, I hope you find that very useful indeed. And while I'm about it, would you like me to show you how to fold a napkin? I'm happy to do that for you as well. In fact, I probably will, whether you like it or not. But I'm going to, oh shit, now. I didn't mean to do that. But I'm going to catch up with your comments first, because I expect there's some abuse there for me to read. There usually is. I feel quite proud of myself tonight. I'm performing a real social service. I should get an MBE or something for this shit. Right, let's catch up with some comments. Okay. I logged in halfway, but it... Oh, right, okay, yeah, that's still talking about Tuesday night. Sorry, underscore. Yes, come back from the naughty step. You've done your time. You've done your porridge. You are a free man. No bedtime story tonight. No, that's a different thing, Liz. They're going to go out under the banner of Mr. Boaty's bedtime stories, rather than just Monday Night Live or Thursday Night Live. So so you've got no excuse. You know what you're going to get if you click on that link. All right. So yeah, if you see Mr. Boaty's bedtime stories, it's going to be something like Tuesday night. So if you watch it, on your own head be it. When it just says Monday Night Live, Thursday Night Live, or whatever, then it's just going to be this. It's just going to be normal. It's going to be me shouting at you about various things and drinking wine and getting a little bit tipsy. Oh, do you know, I mentioned to somebody, and I won't say who, because they might actually be watching this, but I said that, oh no, I can't really say, well, can I? Well, just out of the blue, apropos of nothing, I mentioned a scenario where I ate 2 Mr. Kipling French Fancies, the pink ones, the 2 pink ones, which I'd crumbled with my hands, massaged into some busty substances, and then ate them. And I've not really been able to get that scenario completely out of my mind since. It's not something I've ever done, but I would like to. And it's just one of those, it's like one of those songs that goes round and round in your head, except it's not a song, it's a thought, possibly a visual thought. And it's like one of those earworm things. It's a mind worm, and I can't quite get it out of my mind. Just the idea of, crumbled up French fancies, just sort of massaged in. They'd probably have to be lying down, I suppose, otherwise gravity would have an effect. And then just nibbled. I'll tell you how it came up. It came up because the conversation involved Frank Sinatra, and I happen to remember that it was well known that his favourite breakfast was scrambled eggs eaten off a prostitute's breasts. And, that idea wasn't entirely without charm to me, but I'm a bit more considerate and thoughtful and feeling than Frank Sinatra obviously is. And I wouldn't put a hot breakfast food on a lady's breasts for fear of scalding. So I thought something room temperature would be a nice alternative. And Mr. Kipling's French Fancies just popped into my mind. And now I can't get rid of them. I'm probably going to dream about them tonight. But there you are. And that's not going to be a feature. I don't want to know about what ideas you've had about Mr. Kipling's French Fancies, or indeed ladies' breasts, be they a prostitute or otherwise. Now then, oh hello, Steve's with us. Ollie Owls, evening matey. Cruise Biggins, marry May, Podger Posh. Yeah, that's a pretty sensible shout, I guess. Although I might have done it the other way round. I might have cruised with May and married Biggins, as long as it was one of those marriages where there's no, it's a non-sex marriage. Because on a daily basis, to live with, Biggins would be so much more fun than May. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want the bedtime shenanigans with him, but, he could go elsewhere. We could have an open marriage, me and Biggins, and Biggins could get his Oggins, wherever, as indeed could I, it being an open marriage. But in terms of living with and hanging out with and having a laugh, Biggins would be awesome. He's absolutely brilliant. Back in the days when I used to watch television, I used to watch that Celebrity Come Dine With Me, which he won by cheating. And he was just fabulous. It'd be awesome living with Biggins. So yeah, I'd marry Biggins. Oh, Simon's weighed in. Cruise May. Oh, he's copied me. Or I've copied him, but I honestly hadn't read that. But he's gone for the same as me. He'd cruise with May, marry Biggins, and Podger Posh. And Simon, great minds think alike, mate. That is exactly what I'd do. No, I'm not reading that. That's not fair, says Liz. I need two chaps to choose from. Where's the equality when blokes get two ladies to choose from? Well, you've got a point there, Liz. And when we play it next week, I'll tell you what, we'll make an ongoing feature and remind me, in the next live stream, we'll do Cruise, Marry, Podge again, but I'll do two blokes and one woman, and then it's fair. TP says peels are vile, cheese is also vile, and I agree with you, TP. What the F? He's got a problem with peas now. I've got a problem with peas. Simone loves cheese. You shouldn't. You can probably get help with that. Simon says marrow fat peas are the worst. Are they? Are they worse than those little green dehydrated fellas that you get in a pot noodle? Not that I've had a pot noodle for many, many, many years. There's a feature. When did you last have a pot noodle? And be honest, no telling lies. I genuinely haven't had one for about, God, must be 30 years. Oh, the worst sort of pea is the one that you have to get out of bed at 3 a.m. in the cold for. I see what you did there, TP. Nice work. Peas are lovely little sweet things, delicious. You ain't got a clue, have you, Simon? Cat pea tastes horrible. I'll take your word for that, Steve. Marrow fat peas are actually mushy peas and they're lovely, says GPS. OMG! Hard work, your name is. All hail noodly appendages, ramen. My brother can't be in the same room as a pea. He's a sensible lad. I know a pea story that's as dirty as Boaty's bedtime story. Send it to me and I'll read it out. I would like to inject the knowledge of cooking in me without proper learning. Okay. That's an interesting one, actually. You could kind of pick it up by osmosis. If you just hung around people who cooked all the time, then without being taught or trying to learn, you'd probably pick bits up. I certainly have done, hanging out in a restaurant kitchen. Curry should be banned at the Chinese, says KKC, as should limp, greasy chips. Well, I like the Chinese limp, greasy chip. You know, sometimes it's in for a penny, in for a pound. And if you're going to have a chip, have a soggy, greasy one. But the curry, Chinese curry, I kind of agree. Like I say, I've been making my own for, excuse me, I've been making my own for 20 or 30 years now, and it's just so much better. Um, and it's dead easy to do because there are easy cheats available. Um, just go to your Chinese supermarket of choice, or go to Wing Yip, or order online from Wing Yip. And the Chinese takeaways and restaurants, they just make it from a paste, in all honesty. It's just a paste that they mix with water, and, jobs are good. And so there's no reason why any of you can't do that. But then the point is, you can make it to your own taste. So you can leave the peas out for a bloody start. You can add lashings of onion in. Now, I do use I use a base. I use a base sauce, but then I spice it up with various things. Uh, and my favourite spice in most Chinese cooking, no, not most anymore, because uh, I use a lot of Chu chili oil now, in Chinese food. Uh, and if you include not just the oil, but um, it's oil that's that's infused with dried Chu chilies, which are super hot from the southern region of China. But if you actually include some of the chilies as well, that gives, oh, I mean, you're talking proper hot. I tend to use a little of the oil. In my Chinese curry, I use a little of the oil. But you know what works really well? Simple ground white pepper. Works brilliantly across a whole range of Chinese foods. And it's perfect for spicing up a curry. So, super easy to make, super cheap. Honestly, a child of 2 could easily do it. And it really is cheap. You should never. So I agree with whoever it was who said that. Um, oh, KKC. No, I don't agree. Curry shouldn't be banned at the Chinese, but nobody should buy it. And then it wouldn't need to be banned. They'd stop offering it. Nobody should buy Chinese curry because it's so easy to make your own, and you'll save a fortune. And I promise you, it will be better. And it's dead easy. And what would you have it with? So have it with fried rice. It's make your own fried rice. It's so easy to do. It really is. Just, I mean, anybody can cook rice. Surely to God, it's not difficult. You can buy a rice cooker. Dead easy. Make it in bulk. Keep it in the fridge. You can even freeze it. The only, the big thing with rice is to well and truly drain and rinse it before you cook it. Get rid of a lot of the starch, stop it sticking together. But it's not difficult to fry rice. It really isn't. Just get your already cooked rice and just whack it in a hot wok or pan of choice with some nice infused oil and whatever else you want to put in there. A bit of beaten egg if you want egg fried rice. Um, oh, whatever you fancy. Spring onion works really well. Garlic works really well. Anything that you like, basically. And if you want it to be totally authentic to the takeaway or restaurant experience, pop a bit of Chinese salt in there. If you find Chinese food addictive, it's because of the Chinese salt that they use, otherwise known as MSG or monosodium glutamate. And it's a very addictive thing. I will admit we use it in a couple of dishes at the restaurant. It's not something I would ever use myself, but if you want to, go ahead. Right. Health review. Let's see. Yeah, Simon, it's back to the boob thing. No boob, no cheese. Correct. That's what it is. That's what it is. Carl Davis is with us and says greetings and greetings to you. He's not very educated when it comes to cheese, says GPS. OMG! Somebody should force feed him Stilton. I don't need to. Look, the only education that you need about cheese is that it is wrong, and those who cheese are wrong, and it should be wiped off the face of the earth. It shouldn't be a thing. I mean, anybody who eats something called stinking bishop, Sarah Parsons, needs to have a long, hard work with himself. Right. You can say my nickname as you like. It's crazy anyway and hard to explain, says Ken Joji. Good, thank you. I will. Twice I've been to the yard and twice I've not landed a good lunch, says Simon. Oh, and don't freeze your wine tonight. Good point. Yeah, you've not done well with lunches, have you, son? Yeah. Look, we all suffered. We all suffered that dreadful day with bloody oodles. What can I say? Come along next time. We'll go to Istanbul. We'll sit down. We'll film it, and we'll have a lovely meal. That'll make up for it. Stephen S. Paul is with us all the way from across the ocean in the US of A. Evening, Boatman and Co. And good evening to you. Thanks for the shout out, says Liz. You're more than welcome. Today's video was inspired. Apparently Tommy Cooper did a full set with the lights out. There's a few Tommy Cooper stories. The problem with Tommy Cooper was that he was well known for appearing on stage absolutely off his trolley drunk. He's done a full set with the lighter. He also did a full set facing the curtain rather than the audience. And everybody thought he did it on purpose. He didn't. He was just absolutely bloody legless. And when he actually died on stage, bless his heart, everybody thought that was a stunt, or that he just had one too many as usual and fallen unconscious. So it was a bit like the boy who cried wolf. But I'm glad you enjoyed today's video. That's a video that went out tonight at the normal time of 1919. And if you've not watched it, it features your own Captain Mustard and I doing YouTube charades, where we have to impersonate a YouTube channel host and the other person has to guess the YouTube channel. It was really quite funny. We also played Pump Pump Pumperson, and that's my Pilchard. Let me see, where did I get to? For lunch, dinner, I had a KFC bonus banquet. This is Simon, Project MGTF, a community channel. So far, dinner, I've had nothing except a muffin and custard. Now then. Matron. A KFC boneless banquet. He ate mustard share of tea cakes. Out for tea tonight, says KKC, mother-in-law's birthday. Bad Bucks had a cheeky tandoori mixed grill with no cheese or peas. Good man. Jimmy Quinn had 2 Wagyu burgers with chili chips. Yeah, he's too rich. None of your economy burgers there. Wagyu burgers, thank you very much. It's curtains for, oh God. It's curtains for beef, says KKC. And that is funny. Jabberwocky 220 GTI says, first spag bol of the year. Praise to the FSM. Ramen. I've not done my first spag bol this year, and it's well overdue. I need to get on with that. GPS OMG had he had beef stew for lunch, and for dinner Thai green chicken curry. The lovely Matt. Surprisingly, I had homemade pie again. Matt seems to spend a goodly portion of his life making homemade pie. And why not? You could do worse things. The only soup I drink is copper soup. You eat it using a spoon, which is not a fucking machine. I agree. A spoon is definitely not a machine. And I said as such in a recent video. Is it soup if there's more noodles than soup? Good question. Good question. My soup today had noodles in it. Um, I'm going to go with yes, but it's just like a different kind of soup. I drink my soup, says Stephen S. Paul, through a crazy straw. Ah. Oh, Simone. No, oh dear. I tried to teach my grand to suck eggs. I gave up because I couldn't. Oh, no, 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 no. No, that's urging on the feature that we cannot mention. Simon is team chopsticks. Forget the chopsticks, just stick your head in the bowl and chew. KKC says English Chinese food isn't proper Chinese food, so a fork is allowed. Well, that's an interesting one. And now on the whole, I agree with you. If you go to an average Chinese takeaway or Chinese restaurant, then I completely agree that the dishes on the menu have got sod all to do with authentic Chinese food, i.e. food that is served in China or that Chinese people living in the UK would actually eat. And this was confirmed when I lived with Chinese Madam, because when she went to a Chinese takeaway, she sort of went, well, what the fuck's all this? This isn't food. So I agree on that. But if you go to a Chinatown part of a city, my local Chinatown, and it's a thriving Chinatown, is in Sheffield, then you'll find you can go to a Chinese place. It is in England, although certainly in Sheffield, if you're in Chinatown in Sheffield, you'd think you're in China, because every business is Chinese. Everything is written in Chinese. The banks are Chinese. The travel agents are Chinese. The pharmacy is Chinese. There's one street in Sheffield where it is just proper Chinese. And you can go into a variety of restaurants there, and you can eat genuine Chinese food. And I recommend that you do. Although it can be difficult because most of them, they don't have any English, so you have to navigate your way through a Chinese menu. And some of them make it even more difficult because you have to use an app. But I would recommend that you try it because the food is just absolutely fabulous. Right. Okay, I think we're getting onto this. I'm catching up now with the soup comments. I don't think he thinks we have those items in our homes. I'm sure that you do, and I would assume that you do, but you know, I'm just putting it out there just in case there's the odd one of you who don't, because I know that soup spoons are not so much of a thing now. If you buy a cheap canteen of cutlery, then, which you shouldn't ever do, oh God, there's nothing worse than cheap cutlery. There really isn't. But God forbid, if you were to buy a canteen of cutlery from a supermarket or department, or cheap department store, they don't contain soup spoons, and that is just wrong. TP says you'll be getting us buying soup bowls and spoons. Yeah, totally. Yeah, all right, I get the point. Some of you, most of you, perhaps all of you have all of these things in your homes, but I personally know people who don't. So I was kind of working on the basis that if there's even the possibility that one of you guys watching doesn't have those items, then I am under a moral and societal duty to enumerate the doings to you. And that's what I did. No, KKC. Oh God. Just trying to eat soup with chopsticks. I'm starving. Soup in a basket. Oh, now we're talking about cats. Oh, Liz says, I've never seen a lidded soup bowl in 50 plus years. Boaty is very posh. Well, you've got to have a lidded soup bowl. And part of my set. Will I fish it out for you? Go on. This is a treat for you, Liz, if it's... where are we? No, I can't be bothered to fish that out. But part of the set is a big serving pot, which has also got a lid with a little cutout for the ladle. And so that you can remove the lid of the bowl, ladle in, put the lid back on. But, oh yeah, a soup bowl has got to have a saucer and a lid, otherwise it's not a proper soup bowl. And of course it has to have the lugs on the side. Oh, and I don't think I showed you. The purpose of the lugs on the side is so, allow me, when you're coming to the bottom of your bowl of soup, by using a lug in the left or right hand, you can tilt the bowl away from you, which would be that way for you, so that you can get the last vestige of the soup. It is not so that you can grab it in both of your big old mitts and do that. No, absolutely not. But yeah, I'm thoroughly in favour of a lidded soup bowl. They're a wonderful thing and everybody should have one. Bad Book says, very nice Denby Doop set. Thank you. My favourite homemade soup is spinach, double cream and Stilton. You would not like it. No, I bloody wouldn't. And thank you. I do like Denby, and my Denby of choice is 1960s, 1970s Denby Homestead. And if you ever visit my kitchen, you'll find that it is everywhere. The cruet sets here, there, the pourers, all Denby Homestead. My coffee mugs, my coffee set, these doings. It's yeah, I've got a real thing for it. And of course, Denby is just down the road from the restaurant. Although I'm not so much into the current stuff. Well, I might be. I probably couldn't afford it. Well, I definitely couldn't afford it. I can't afford virtually anything. But I love the homestead, and I just think that it's got a very cottagey feel to it. So I initially had it in my Welsh cottage, and it has carried on and now forms part of Windy Bottom life. Now, where did I get to? I need to learn, says Simon, to not have dinner until the stream starts to avoid the hungers. I totally get that. I'll be having my supper after doing this, and tonight I've got a naughty one. I've got my homemade version of an Istanbul kebab. So I've got doner kebab with naan bread and salad and guindilla peppers, and that's a bit of a naughty treat, except it's not really a naughty treat, I don't think, because if you make it yourself, and it's not impossible to make homemade kebab. I've been doing it for ages, and indeed I was in Sainsbury's supermarket just the other night, and I noticed that they now offer a pre-mix for doner, so you don't have to make your own seasoning and spices and whatnot. There's a pre-mix powder thing, I think it's a powder, which presumably you just mix with your mince, and Bob's your uncle and Fanny's your aunt. And a good way to cook it, if you want the full doner experience, is to take a baked bean tin or similar, cut the doings off both sides, the top and the bottom, so you've just got the the cylinder, then make your doner meat. So just, it's not difficult. It's minced beef, well, whatever mince you want to use, with some herbs and spices. You can bind it with some egg if you want to, whatever you want to stick in there, basically. And then just ram it in the tin, bang a skewer through it, and then using the skewer, you can just like rotisserie bake it in your oven, and then you can just pop it down to the end of the skewer when it's done, and holding the skewer with a cloth, if it's just come out of the oven, you can just carve it like a proper elephant's leg in your local kebab emporium. And if you do it yourself, then you're in control of what fat and whatever you put into it. So, and then if you had that with pita bread or with roti or something, some form of unleavened bread and salad, I would argue that's actually a very healthy meal. Because what have you got? You've got some meat, drained, made with low fat. Use good mince, use 5% mince, or use cheap mince, but just after you've cooked it, just drain all the fat away. Simple. And then you've got unleavened bread and salad. What's unhealthy about that? Nothing. I would argue it's a bloody good, healthy meal. Now then, what's the point of the rule? God, well, I mean, what's the point of any rule? They're just there, aren't they? And we have to follow them. Where did I get to? Yes, here we are. Why didn't he just, oh, right. Oh, that was Witty, bless him, yeah. The soup bowl is older than he is. Possibly, or about the same age. Oh, what, right, talking about food. Booty does spooning. George Rogerbotty, Mr. George Rogerbotty, Mr. Rogerbotty, Mr. George Rogerbotty. It's a no-no to pass the bloody port anyway. Get your own or get your coat. I imagine you don't get invited to many formal dinner parties. Try not passing the port and see how far you get. There is very little chance, says Simon, anyone I will be eating soup near will be the slightest bit bothered about me eating soup mostly, but scooping it out with bread. Good Lord. Mr. Rogerbotty says, Jeeves is chuckling in the kitchen at the thought of passing the port. Time for nibbles, methinks. GPS OMG says, elbows on the table and slurp whilst eating your soup. Lovely. KKC says the weather was nice today, snowing up north there. I'm freezing my tits off here. Liz says your head has to stay where it is to eat soup. Well, blow me down. I assume you're being ironic there, Liz, because you, if you don't mind me saying so, are a very cultured lady, and I'm sure that you are fully conversant with all aspects of soup consumption etiquette. Anyone booked a holiday, asks KKC. Simon, you're an arsehole. Let's all eat soup wrong when we do the next meetup. Lol. Jimmy Quinn says, put soup in a cup and drink it. I think he's living in the Victorian times. Inhale like an angel, aren't they dead? No, angels are immortal. They live forever. He didn't even dip his bread roll. I'm genuinely offended. I've had the decorators in this week, says KKC. Social services, you mean, Bodie? I hope that's not another title of a bedtime story. You've done your porridge. Oh no, I'm not reading that. I'm not sure I can. Oh dear me. Oh no. Let's show this hidden comment. Okay. What? If this becomes a feature, I'm leaving this channel. No. KKC, no. Eaten or otherwise, no. that is a WAP that's, I'm not sure, well, it's as bad as, if not worse, than the other WAP, which I can't talk about. Another one held review. Oh, and Captain Mustard is still with us, apparently. Would you call it... I think he's talking about eating scrambled eggs off a prostitute's breast. Would you cool it down with a scrambled egg rack first? Sometimes, says Simon, this stream makes me think of Grandpa Simpson. No idea why. Did Mr. Kipling invent the French fancy? Cheese is lovely, says TP. Jimmy Quinn has never had a pot noodle. Good man. TP says, over 20 years since I've had hot noodle. I don't like it, but I have had a cup of soup. Ollie Owls, who is now a community channel. My friend Steve, who is now one of us, and he has a YouTube channel, and it's Ollie Owls. So please check out Ollie Owls, and please subscribe. And he will subscribe to all of our community channels as well. That's how it works. That's how the community works. You scratch my back and I'll tickle your nipples. Anyway, Steve hasn't had one since the early 90s because he's a man of taste and culture. KKC has never had a pot noodle. He didn't go to university. You need to specify, said Simon, if you mean a pot noodle or just instant noodles in a pot. I buy cup noodles a lot. Quick dinner while working. Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. And I'll tell you what, one of the chaps that works in the restaurant has a business selling various imported bits and pieces. And he sells instant noodles. They're not in a pot, they're in one of those flimsy, wrappy chaps things. Oh, frozen wine. But they're made with a super hot chili that is unique to the southern foothills of the... Oh, it's okay, it's not frozen. Which are unique to the southern foothills of the Himalayas. And I tell you what, there might be instant noodles in a wrappy, but with that flavouring, with that seasoning, that chili, they're absolutely bloody fabulous. And they make a very quick and easy meal. And a very tasty and nourishing meal if you mix them with actual food, by which I mean meat. And I have used them as I haven't had any for ages. He brought a box into the restaurant for us all to try, and I used them to make soup, a noodle soup to which I added chicken, and that was fabulous. And I used them as a sort of Nepalese chow mein sort of thing. I used them as the basis for a stir fry, with again with some chicken and with some additional vegetables and bean sprouts and whatnot. And again, that was fabulous. So I'm not against all forms of instant type noodles. I'm not against a pot noodle, if I'm honest. It's just not something I've felt the need to indulge in any time recently. Now, where did I get to? Oh, and Steve Ollie Owl's community channel follows up by saying, although I did post a meme last year about a pot noodle and a wank. I must have missed that one. It's all forgotten about it. Pot noodle Bombay bad boy, says GPS. OMG. Nice, but not had one for at least about a year. I think that the Bombay bad boy was the last pot noodle that I ever ate. And I'm not rabidly against them. You know, if I was hungry and there was a pot noodle there, I would eat it. The reason I don't have them is because I don't think they're tremendously good value for money. Um, when I buy noodles, I see them in the supermarket, and aren't they over £1 now? I mean, that's quite a lot of money. Um, because a pot noodle is like half of one meal, isn't it? And I think it's about £1.50 for the big ones, isn't it? And for that, I could make you, for that half a meal, I can make you 5 full meals for the same money, just using your own noodles and your own bits and pieces and your own seasonings. So to me, I'm not offended by them, but I think that they're a convenience food where you're paying for the convenience, and with a minimum, a modicum of effort, you can do much, much better yourself. Anyway, where did I head to? Captain Mustard says pot noodles are just weird. Do they put some dodgy dangerous chemical powder on Chinese food to make it taste better, says Carl Davis? Yeah, they include what's called Chinese salt in every single meal. And it is a little bit dodgy, it is a little bit dangerous. It's genuinely addictive. It connotes a certain endorphin response in the brain, which in and of itself is an addictive thing, and that's why you think that Chinese food tastes fabulous, but it's not good for you. And throughout the rest of the EU, it's actually illegal, which will, give you an idea of where it stands on the dodginess scale. Although in the UK it's not illegal, and it is the absolute mainstay of every single Chinese takeaway and Chinese restaurant. Um, it's like normal salt on steroids with all of the worst aspects of. I mean, we all know that salt is necessary and too much salt is bad. Well, Chinese salt, or MSG, is just like that multiplied by 55,000 times. So there's your answer to that one. I think I'll make a nice green pea soup with ham and lentils. Oh, that sounds very pleasant, apart from the peas and the lentils. I've seen both noodles and pots, but at different times, says Stephen S. Paul. Never at the same time. That's probably a British thing, the pot noodle. I mean, it's amazing, really, in these supposedly enlightened times that they're still a thing and still sell. I stopped eating pot noodle when I found out they're not made with pot, says _, who is on the verge of being sent back to the naughty stairs. Egg fried rice with peas? No. I had food poisoning from recooking rice, says TP. You shouldn't have had. There are rules. If it was your own rice, then you've kind of only got yourself to blame. You should have no difficulty whatsoever from recooking rice that has only been through a single heat cycle. You can't do it again and again, but you can absolutely do it once without a problem. I cook rice in bulk, and I'll keep it at room temperature for quite a long time. Forget your 30-minute cold chain. I've got no problem keeping rice at room temperature certainly for 6 hours. I'll keep it in the fridge for days, and I will freeze it, and I will recook it, and I've never had a problem. It's, as long as you follow the rules, it shouldn't be a problem. One heat cycle before you recook, and stored correctly, either refrigerated or frozen, and then brought to full temperature when you recook it, because Bacteria is everywhere, and the key to battling bacteria is usually heat. So it's incorrectly cooked or incorrectly warmed through food that will very often be the case of very often be the cause of problems. Uh, Mustard says that MSG is in all sorts of fast food. Probably is in the UK, yeah. How do you cook your curry, says Jimmy Quinn. Which curry? My Chinese curry, my Nepalese curry, different ways of doing it. Let me know which one you want to know how to cook, and I'll tell you. Tell me which sort of curry, and I'll happily tell you. Um, a hidden comment from Mustard. Boaty, you are more wrong than cheese, you lanky tool. That's nice. I enjoy being abused by Mustard. Abuse coming from Mustard is like being hugged by Christopher Biggins, although a hairier version. Let cheese into your life? No. D Mac is with us and says hi to everyone and hi to me. Hi D, lovely to have you here. Clapton, KKC says, on stage drunks. Clapton did a show in the 70s, lay flat out drunk on the stage with a mic next to him. Think it was in Italy. I've never heard that one. I had noodles for dinner, says D-Mac. Fair play to you. Surely they should be pick-up sticks, not chopsticks. Again, it's underscore. Hitting it, he is quite funny. You have to admit he is quite funny. Chinatown is Manchester is good, says KKC. I'm yet to try it, but I would really like to. I almost had a date there, but it was going to be a second date, and the first date was lovely, but I didn't fancy a second one, so I never went to Chinatown in Manchester. But I would like to one day. Real Chinese is good, says D-Mac, and so is their food. I agree on both counts. Simone, hooked on classic, says, Boaty, have you ever tried... Now, I'm not sure what's going on here. It says Nepalese food. So, it's very nice indeed. So I'm not sure if you mean, if that's a misspelling and you mean Nepalese food, or whether you mean food from Naples. Now, if you meant Nepalese food, then obviously I have. I work in a Nepalese restaurant. If you mean food from Naples, then yes, I have again. I love Italian food. I love to cook Italian food. And as I think I mentioned before, my favourite Italian food is rustic peasant Italian food. As with so many other cuisines, the rustic peasant gear is just the best food that you can get. But I love Italy. I love Italian food. I love Italian culture. I love the Italian language. Io sono Italiano in spirito, vedi amare quanti bello, and so on and so forth. You can say things in Italian that you can't say in any other language. The words simply don't exist. I love Italian music. I love Italian wine. I am largely Italian in spirit, as I just said, but I said it in Italian because I'm a show-off. What have you done? Oh, Liz, what have you done? Says KKC. Boaty, it's called a soup tureen, okay? I wonder, Simon says, I wonder what's in those little pots sat around the pepper grinder. Which little pots are we on about? Do you mean these, Simon? Well, that is just a condiment set, which is currently empty, ready for deployment. So, for example, if I was serving Sunday lunch, they would contain, depending on exactly what I'm serving, but different kinds of mustard, different horseradishes, mint sauce, any condiments of that nature. All food is good when you're hungry, says D-Mac. You got a point there. Not sure a soup bowl set will be as easy to smuggle out of a restaurant as a couple of teaspoons. No, you might have to resort to actually buying them rather than theft. Boaty does public information films. He'll be doing the Green Cross Code yet. We had the Green Cross Code man come to our primary school when I was a young buck. And of course, if you didn't know, the Green Cross Code man was a chap called David Prowse. I think I'm right in saying that. And of course, he was perhaps most famous for playing Darth Vader. Although being a Bristolian with a westerly burr of a voice, they replaced his voice with James Earl Jones. But he was the chap inside the costume, and he was also the Green Cross Code man, and he also appeared in at least one episode of Callan, which was one of the best things ever to be on television. And the episode I'm thinking of, which I think was episode 1 of series 2, he played a character called... No, I can't remember. Terrain, yes, I'm not that uncouth, says Liz. Clunk click before every trip. Oh, best not mention that with Jimmy Savile, wouldn't it? Should be, oh dear. Can we have the test card? The etiquettes of Boaty's soup bowl, says GPS, OMG, must be adhered to at all times. Quite right. Do we talk about cooking exclusively? No, not exclusively. We talk about many things, including scrambled eggs and breasts. Is anyone still interested in cars? Yeah. D-Mac says, is the Chinese madam still in the caravan, Boaty? Not sure what you mean by that. Chinese madam has been nowhere near the caravan. Chinese madam is in Liverpool, where I think she's now living with a Romanian chap. And fair play to them both. They both are very happy. Boaty's ramming his meat into an oven and holding it with a cloth once he's finished tossing a salad. Animal fat isn't bad for you, says Mustard. Excuse me. Oh! I've not had a doner kebab for over 25 years. Due to the fact that the majority of the fat is saturated, it's going to raise your cholesterol and give you thickening of your arteries, or, to give it the proper term, arteriosclerosis. Not if you make it yourself, though, and that was the point that I was making. My car now has a full MOT, just to keep the car talk up. Oh, hurrah! Matt Streetwise has a full MOT. Splendid, that's good news. And no doubt at some point the potential head gasket woes will be addressed and all sorted. Did you ever see the Chinese Madam Project, Nigel? Asks D-Mac. No. Chinese Madam was off the scene about 6 months before I first met Mustard. Question, says Simon. Corned beef, why does it cost so much? I'm sure it was a cheap option food when I was young. I don't know. I have to make porridge in a cup for a snack. 160, oh right, 160 quid to get Streetwise through the MOT. Excellent. Oh, now we're talking about corned beef. Pot noodle sandwich followed by pot noodle juice soup. Yeah, I won't lie, I did that when I was a kid. Does he have, he's gone again, says KKC. Does he have a battery-powered pot noodle fork? No, but I would have loved one, and I remember when they were a thing, and I can't remember why I didn't get one. I remember thinking I should. For those who don't know, it was a battery-powered fork, and the head of the fork with the tines rotated by electrical power. And if there are any still about, I'd love one of those. In fact, When I finish this, I'm going to look on eBay and see if there are any to be had. Crusty bread, corned beef and tomato with mustard. Lovely. Oh, the Ken Joji says, do you like wristwatches and what's your view on that subject? That's an awkward one. The answer is yes, I do like wristwatches. And I've had a few wristwatches that I loved very much, most notably Cartier and Rolex. And I stopped wearing watches when when I couldn't afford, when I stopped being able to afford to buy what I would think of as a nice one. However, I'm aware that they're doing retro digital watches now, the old calculator watches and whatnot. And I keep seeing adverts for those pop up on my Facebook. And I would be very, very tempted by one of those. Now, I won't lie to you, if I had money coming out of my ears again, I'd have a Rolex. And whether you think that's right or wrong, or if I didn't have a Rolex, I would have something something very similar, something absolutely top end. I'm a little bit out of touch with what's considered good now and what's considered de trop and which are perennial classics. I used to be bang up on it. My first really nice watch was a Cartier, and I moved from that to a Rolex. I don't know, is a Seamaster still a good watch? If I had money, I would have a really nice watch. But I am tempted. I like wearing a watch. I miss not wearing a watch. I know that they're kind of pointless now in these days of portable electric telephones, but I see the adverts for those retro style Casio digital types, and I'm on the verge of buying one. In fact, oh, my tooth is killing me. Oh, God. In fact, when the weather gets a bit warmer and I'm not having to pay £15 a day for gas, I will almost certainly buy a retro digital watch for 30 or 40 quid and keep it until the end of time. Ha! The end of time. See what I did there? God, I'm bloody good value, aren't I? Considering you got in for nothing. Now then. Oh, Simone's off. Good night, everyone. Early start tomorrow. Oh, it is getting towards that time where we all need to start saying good night. Good night, Simone. Remember that Simone's channel, Hooked on Classics, is a community channel. So please do consider supporting it in any way that you can. Don't know why I said that in that way. I just did. You know, I'm a free man. I'm here alone in a cottage that I paid for. Why shouldn't I? There's not a power on earth that can stop me. I wish my tooth would start hurting. Chinese salt, says KKC. Is that like Usda beef? No idea. Can that MSG thing give you headache through dehydration? If so, that might explain why I get a headache after some Chinese foods. It depends on the amount of MSG they put in there. There are many reasons why MSG might give you a headache. Everybody reacts to it differently, and it will depend on the amount that they put in there. Quite honestly, and I exclude some proper Chinese restaurants and takeaways from this, but the idea of headaches and other ill effects or side effects after eating Chinese food, they've been going on since time began because they put a lot of MSG in it. I'm bringing a cushion to future live streams, says _ That step is bloody uncomfortable. If there's any Chinese watching Boaty, they'd be after you. Oh God, I'm used to that. I've told you before, the Chinese government were bloody after me. Had my phone tapped, had people at the door, threatening telephone calls, threatening messages. It was takeaway rice, says TP. Very ill, left it out in the microwave. Right, I can tell you, I can tell you why that made you ill, TP. I was saying one heat cycle, right? A lot of takeaways or restaurants, they will cook rice in bulk, right? So it's been cooked, that's one heat cycle, yeah? Then what they do is, so they've got the cooked rice, and then when the orders come in, they will reheat the rice. Now, if it's just plain rice, they'll just reheat it in a microwave. Or if it's a fried rice, then they will. I'll let you into another little restaurant secret. Not my restaurant, cheap restaurants, takeaways. Um, Now, if an order comes in for a fried rice or whatever, then they'll use cooked rice, so that's already been through one heat cycle, yeah? And then they will stir fry it. But a lot of them, they don't stir fry it, right? They will just, they'll fry an egg or fry a load of eggs. And so if you order egg fried rice, then they'll just put cooked rice in a bowl with some egg that they've previously cooked and whatever else they want to put in there, scrunch it up with their hands, and they'll put it in the microwave for a minute, and that is your fried rice. And I know for a fact that that's what's happened. But the point is, TP, they've put that rice through 2 heat cycles. They've cooked it originally, and then they've reheated it for your order. So if you then do it again, then you're putting the rice through a 3rd heat cycle, and that's when things start to get dodgy, especially when you can't be sure of the of whether the storage has been optimized in between the heat cycles. So be very, very wary of rice from a takeaway. If you're in a posh restaurant, you know, don't worry about it. It's almost certainly going to be fresh. Well, actually, I don't know if that's true. I can't speak for other restaurants. I can only speak for ours. But when it's your own rice and you know the heat cycle it's been through and that it's only been one, and you know that it's been refrigerated, and you know that it's been frozen, and you know that when you've put it through the reheat cycle, you've got it to the proper temperature where the bacteria, any bacteria is going to be killed off, you'll be perfectly okay. But reheating takeaway rice, yeah, that's like playing Russian roulette. He's done soup, Chinese, rice tonight. What's next? The nutritional benefits of 7? Oh, and then he actually meant to say something else, and I'm not going to say that. Oh, Jimmy Quinn, Chinese curry. It was Chinese curry that you're talking about. All right, dead easy. Right, I'll tell you how I do it. You asked how I do it. So, this is how I do it. I use chicken that's already been marinated and cooked. You might not want to do that. You might want to use fresh chicken. I happen to use, I like chicken to have flavour in and of itself. So I use chicken that's been marinated for 24 hours and then clay baked in the tandoor. But so what I do is I heat up some chichow chili oil in the wok, and then dead easy this. I literally just stir fry onion cut very, very rustically, chopped rustically, big old chunks of onion and plenty of them, and I just stir fry the onion and the chicken in the chichow chili oil, and then I simply add the curry paste. I add a suitable amount of water, and I add some white pepper, and that's it. That's it. That is my Chinese chicken curry. And you know, could it be any easier than that? No, not really. Is the answer to that. Absolute piece of piss to make. And if you haven't got a Chinese supermarket, or you don't want to go to a Wing Yip or go mail order, I think there are some shops, some of the cheaper supermarkets, they do oh, what's it called? I've used it once, and I tell you, it's all right. It's a powder. It's a Chinese curry powder. Mayflower? I think it's Mayflower. It comes in a box, and then there's like a takeaway carton inside the box with this powder in it. And it's all right. It's all right. It's almost as good as the paste, if I'm honest. So, and it's only like, oh God, I think it's about £1. And it'll last like forever. So check that out. That works perfectly well. It will definitely be as good or better as your local Chinese takeaway. And it's literally just stir frying the onion, chicken. If you wanted to put peas in there or whatever else you wanted to put those in at the same time, and then just add in your paste or your powder, whatever. Add some water and simmer it until it's thickened, and that's it. Piece of pudding. Now then. Oh, hang on. Where did I get to? Question. What's the first roses to be all eaten at Christmas? And that's from Simon. Don't know, mate. I don't know what's in roses. I don't, generally speaking, have chocolates in the house unless they're a gift. As it happens, I have got loads of chocolate at the moment from this Christmas and the Christmas before last, because I just kind of never seem to eat it. I'm going to have one now. These were a Christmas present from work. And I opened them and I had one, and then they've just sat for the best part of a month. So, yeah, I should go mad and have one now. Lovely. Now, in the booze fridge, the wine fridge, I have got some orange Kit Kats. There. I bought those when I moved in here 7 years ago. They're still there. Oh, this is actually really nice. Now, in my butter dish bowl thing, that chocolate orange there is from the Christmas before last. And, oh, I forgot about these. I completely forgot I had these. In my big butter thing, I've got 2 mini rolls. And I completely forgot about these. I'm going to eat one of those tomorrow. I think they've only been there for about a year, so they'll be fine. I'm going to have another one of those twiglets though. That was delicious. Sorry, I'm being rude. Would anybody else like one? Oh look, I've got a half here. I'll have that one. Hold on. I'm going to have another one as well. These are very Moorish. Seriously, all of these sweet things that people are kind enough to give me, I'm terrible at eating them. So, you guys, you really need to come round and help me eat some of these sweet things. Or just eat them for me so I don't have to. That orange twiglet is top notch. Thanks to the lovely Liz, I'm going to show you. I've got not one, but 2 boxes of French Fancies. So you should come round for those. Although, I am going to hold on to 2 of the pink ones in case I get the opportunity to eat them off Bernard's boobs. Now then. Oh, my tusk. Where do I get to? How is Sheeson running, says Bad Books? Sheeson is an absolute delight. I'm booked in the morning for some new tyres, and I will be doing a video on what it's really like to live with a non-binary Rover 25. There's going to be lots of Sheeson videos coming. I absolutely adore that car for all the reasons, you know, partly because of the emotional connection, partly because of the car that it is. I think it's like my Project Nigel. To me, it is just the perfect car. And I will speak at length about this, but it's got everything I want from a car. It's got an amazing automatic gearbox, but with the sequential shift option as well. It's got leather, it's got wood, it's got a fantastic onboard gramophone, it's got a sunroof. I love a sunroof. It's got air conditioning, it's got enough room for anything that you can reasonably want. It's economical, it's great fun to drive. I think it's the perfect car. Sorry, I think they are the perfect car, and I'm going to be doing lots of videos to that effect. I'm also planning to do a Rover 25 off between Sheeson and the other one. What's his name? Oh, what's his bloody name? The spelling mistake. The project. Oh, Brian Johnston. So I'm going to do a Rover 25 off between Brian Johnston and Sheeson. So the pre and post facelift things. And believe it or not, that's not going to be a foregone conclusion, because the post facelift does have some things going for it, although it has a lot of other things that really aren't going for it at all. And I'm going to do the ultimate Rover 25 off at some point, where the Honourable Sheeson is going to take on Project Nigel in the ultimate Rover 25 off. And I think that that is going to be a foregone conclusion, because, you know, as much as Project Nigel is loved by Mustard and by many of you, you can't really compare him to Sheeson, can you? Really? No. But we'll do it anyway, and it'll be jolly good fun. That Gold Rover 25 is down to 1075. Is it? But it's a poverty spec, isn't it? I'd love another 25, and one of you lovely viewers wants to go halves on a car with me. And the car I had in mind for that is now potentially sold. So I wouldn't mind doing that with a 25, but if I was going to save a 25, I'd want to save something maybe potentially a little bit more interesting than an absolute POV spec car that just happens to have a super low mileage. Or Mustard would probably tell me that it's more deserving of being saved because it's more humble, and he might have a point. Let's have some more girlfriend stories, Boaty. Next time, remind me next time, and I'll, I'll tell you, I don't plan any of this. It's just what pops into my mind or what you guys make me think of. So if you want more stories about any particular thing, then just say so in the comments and it'll trigger something in me, and I'll, like a Pavlovian dog, I'll head off on it. David Prowse came to our school too. Ah, right. I expected he did the rounds. We had a policeman come to our school called PC Badger to teach us about road safety. Then when I was leaving school, I stepped out in front of his car. Oh dear. Right, mustard's off. And it looks like people are saying good night. Oh God, it's 1 o'clock. It is. It's time to say good night. All right, let's say good night, everybody. I'll whisper the rest of these comments. Does anybody remember sugar butties with banana? That pot noodle fork is a machine. You should use that to put Captain Mustard right. Yes. KKC says, I have a pot noodle fork somewhere. It's my daughter's. I'll see if I can find it. Pot noodle fork and mug are 20 to 35 quid on eBay, says underscore. Bloody hell. That's kind of collectible money, isn't it? Not just kitsch. Cartier, nice but overrated. I would be petrified to wear an expensive watch. What is your favourite meal, Boaty, says DMAC. Oh, there's a one. It would either be staff curry or just a really, really good rare fillet steak with a really, really, really good sauce au poivre. And I'd be hard put to, or Momo. Probably one of those three. And in happy news, I've got Momo for lunch tomorrow. But we'll do that feature properly another night. It's 1 o'clock and everybody's going to bed, and I should too after I've eaten. But we'll do a favourite meal feature. Remind me, who asked me that? No, excuse me. DMAC, remind me that I said we'd do our favourite meal feature as a proper full-length live feature. Remind me at the beginning of a live and we'll do it properly. Because that's too important a question to gloss over. Rolex is a great brand, but the peasants spoiled it. Watch on hand isn't pointless. You can have cheap silver retro digi Casio that looks elegant enough. You just said that at the same time I was writing. Honestly, the Ken Joji, I've been looking at those and just thinking they are so cool and a nod back to childhood and so retro and fabulous. And I really, really want one. I don't have silly money at the moment to buy silly things with. But as soon as the weather gets warmer and I'm not throwing all of that money away on gas, I'm going to buy myself one of those retro Casios, and I will wear it with pride. So there's a feature for the next one. Have a look at the retro Casio watches that are digitals that are doing the round. Which one is your favourite? Would you want the one with the calculator on it, or the one with the lots of different dials? Or have a look. Let us know. My neighbour is paranoid about the Chinese government. He even says I'm tapped. Yeah, you think it's paranoia until you actually get involved with them and realise what they do. And I don't mind telling you, it's terrifying. And don't think that just because you're in the UK or a UK citizen, don't think that that means that you're safe. You're bloody not, as I learned. Once, twice, 3 times a lady, but not reheated rice because that's dangerous. Quite right. Basically, cook rice, drain it thoroughly. Make sure you eat it within 3 days. I was a head chef for 25 years. Yeah, pretty much, unless it's frozen, of course, in which case you can, you know, you can turn that 3 days into 3 months. Um, George Rogerbotty, Mr. George Rogerbotty says, well, that was rather different to Tuesday night. Yeah, but just remember that when you see Mr. Boaty's bedtime stories, you're going to be getting a Tuesday night experience. If you hated it, avoid those like the plague. Uh, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday night live, you're fine. It'll just be like this, possibly with less food talk. I scrutinise his cooking and his choices of food. Ah, interesting. And from a head chef with 25 years experience, I would greatly value your feedback. Um, da, da, da. Not a fan of chocolate orange. I think it's more of a lady's chocolate. Ooh. Well, I mean, in this day and age. Brother-in-law, a Breitling, nice. No use by dates with me. No, absolutely not. Oh, a hidden one. Big fingers and thumbs does not go very well with the predictor. Makes you look stupid. All right, not sure what that's about. We're all too scared to visit after Tuesday, and it's not because of the ghost. Have you sorted out having a guest on your stream yet? No, I keep forgetting, and I know that you'll do it. Remind me, shout me, and PM me, and stick up my ass to get me to do that. French Fancies are disgusting. Not when they're on Bernard's boobs, they're not, mate. Don't scrimp on those tyres. Make sure you get a decent brand. You want to be able to stop. It's more important than saving a few quid. Well, there'll be a video coming out about the tyres that I went for tomorrow morning. And it's going to be a two-parter because, spoiler alert, I'm getting 2 tyres tomorrow morning. And I'm getting another 2 tyres for the same car on Monday. More to this than meets the eye. Time for what? Good night, Boat. See you next Monday. You certainly will. Boaty does Dallas. Yes, I certainly do know that that reference. I bloody should do. It's a theme tune of my channel, isn't it? Good night all, unless he gets distracted and carries on talking, in which case I'm still here. There's a V8 Rover 75 on eBay. I think I've made it to the end. My favourite meal is a roast beef with all the trimmings, Boaty. Had that on Wednesday, D-Mac, and it was absolutely amazing. Nighty night all. Good night all in Boaty. And who unsubscribed? Right, that's it. That's it. I've made it through the comments. It is now officially time to say good night. It is 6 minutes past 1. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. I hope you have too. I hope you're not too traumatized by Tuesday. And thank you so much for tuning in and joining me. Thank you for watching my other videos and supporting the channel in the way that you do. And thank you for being part of the community and supporting everybody else in the community. That means the world. I will see you for a live on Monday. There should be videos coming out every night at 1919. I think I've got enough. I think I've got enough to get one out every night between now and Monday. One of them will be the tyre video from tomorrow, if everything goes according to plan, and I'll catch you up on everything. And that's it. That's it. Everybody, you guys, stay safe, stay warm, and I can't wait to see you next time. Thank you so much. Good night, and may your God go with you. Bloody button's not working again. Good night, my loves.